Derpity derp 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 derpity derp 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 derpity derp derp derp.
I have pet aliens. I don't know if you guys know that, but mantises are not really from Earth. I know, crazy, So, seriously though, what are they? Like, they don't even look like normal insects. Here's an update on them. So some of you guys have been asking me non-stop about the mantises and how they're doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a couple of them. Okay, so this is the biggest one. I think this one's female because it has like wings. So this is what she looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys one of the smaller ones now. Here he is, twerking.
Dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita.
So he's smaller than the other one, but I mean he's not like tiny, you know, he's decently sized. While we are on the subject of praying mantises, I uploaded this clip to my Facebook page, but I know not all of you follow that page, which you totally should if you haven't. Like, what's wrong with you? So yeah, I uploaded this clip. It fits here in this video, so I'm gonna include it here. Okay, so moving on from the mantis subject now. Some of you guys have been asking about Nachi, my ball python. Here he is. Okay, technical difficulties. So yeah, he is doing really good. He just shed, so he is looking even prettier than usual. I just love him so much. Like, why are you so precious and beautiful? Look at that little face. I'm gonna go ahead and put him away now because I have a untold Nachi related story that I haven't told you guys, and I can't have him out while I'm telling you guys it. You guys will see why in a second. So this is Milton. Some of you guys have seen him before. If you've seen him before, you've just seen him, but I never like told you guys how I ended up with him. That's my cat. Hey. So the last time that I held Nachi after holding Milton, it didn't go so well. Apparently, like, I didn't wash my hands well enough. That's my pigeon. So my hands still smelled like mouse, and then I went over and I got Nachi out of his enclosure. This dude immediately wrapped around my hand and like started constricting my hand, and then he like bit me and like wouldn't let go, and I was like dripping blood, and it was a really painful bite. So that was my first snake bite. Eventually I got him off. I used the method where you put them under running water and like they let go and come up for air. That worked beautifully. And in case you don't know, ball pythons are constrictors. They kill their prey by squeezing them really hard till they die. So they aren't venomous. They don't kill their prey with venom. Even though they bite, they aren't actually injecting any venom when they bite you, so that's why I'm okay. You can't even tell he bit me. I still love him and Milton, and I'm fine. By the way, that bite was completely 100% my fault. I take full responsibility. So now I don't hold Nachi if I've been holding my rats or mouse. Pro tip. Not really. I am like the least pro to give that tip. So after bringing Nachi home, I had the hardest time finding a frozen rodent supplier. When you buy a snake, it's up to you if you want to feed it live rodents or frozen. For me, I wanted to go the frozen route. Like, we're not gonna get in depth about this, just basically feeding frozen is not only better for the feeders because, like, imagine being strangled to death or your bones being crushed and then you die. There's a lot of benefits to the snake by feeding it frozen. It's also better for the keeper sometimes, like me in this case. Like, you guys, I am a small furry mammal person. Like, I tried not to be when I went into the reptile world. Like I said, you know what, we're not gonna do cute small furry mammals because we're gonna bring home some awesome reptiles. Like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get attached to cute furry mammals, okay? But it happened anyways. I'm one of those weird reptile keepers that also keep rats, mice, bunnies, chickens, reptile food, basically. And it can be hard sometimes. So when I brought Nachi home, I knew I wanted to try and get him into frozen food. The breeder was feeding him live, so I was gonna have to transition him, but I wanted to try it. I always knew there was that probability of him never accepting a frozen thawed diet, and I was fine with it. Like, my voice getting squeaky. I was fine with it. No, but seriously, like, if it came down to it and I absolutely had to feed him live, like, let me cover his ears, I would do it. When you bring an animal home and they are under your care, like a snake, it's He's cleaning himself. Oh. Oh, he stopped. That's so cute. Do it again. When you bring an animal home that eats other animals, it's your responsibility 100% to provide for that animal and provide it everything it needs to thrive under your care. With Nachi, like, I was prepared for worst case scenario, which was feeding him live every week. But I still wanted to try a frozen thawed diet. Not only for the benefits, but also because of me. You know, my heart would suffer if I had to feed him like this. Again, let me cover his ears. I would do it if I had to, but prefer not to. Like, if it can be avoided, let's avoid it. So this is where MILTON comes in. So buying frozen rodents here in Mexico is actually not that easy because feeding frozen thawed to reptiles is still not like the norm here. It's really hard to find a frozen rodent supplier here. There's very few of them and not all of them do shipping. That's another problem. I brought Nachi home and he had eaten when I bought him, like they had just fed him. So he was good for a while. So I had time to look. The days just started going by and I just wasn't finding a supplier. So I ended up having to go to a pet shop and buy a little mouse, this little mouse, so that I could feed Nachi in case like this went on longer. So I went to the pet shop and I asked if they had any mice and they said yes, and I told them just give me one, put them in a box, I don't want to see them. And that's what they did. They put them in this box, they poked a few holes in it, I paid and I took them home. I never opened up the box because I knew that if I saw this little thing, this is a little bit controversial, but like I'm fine with feeding live animals to my animals. I do it all the time. I feed my turtles live fish. I feed some of my other animals like worms, crickets. Like I do this on a regular basis, but I've just like never had to feed a rodent before, or like a bunny or a chick. Like because I haven't done it yet, like there's just that barrier that I haven't broken. But I'm sure like if I had to do it and I do it and keep doing it, like I'll be fine with it. When I first started feeding off fish, insects, worms, all that stuff, like of course I felt bad, but like it's something that you have to get over. If you're gonna keep these animals that eat these things in captivity, you have to get over it. So before going to the pet shop, I was actually working on this like build for one of my frogs. So I was setting up this like a vivarium type thing, and I do have a few clips, so I'm gonna go ahead and insert them right here. So I decided to make a carved background for this using styrofoam, you know, very old school but very pretty and effective and nice, and yeah. So after all the carving and shaping and everything, it was time to add some dimension. So I added a few layers of concrete and just like gave it extra dimension with some spray paint. So here's the end result of that. Now, in the tank itself, I wanted a pretty generous like water slash soak area. So what I did was I took these two pieces of acrylic and siliconed them in place. After it was dry, I did like a test run on the water area to make sure that, you know, it actually holds water. So I filled it completely just to make sure that there was no leaks or anything, and nope, everything was good. I mean, duh, of course, I made this. Like, of course there's no leaks. Of course it turned out well the first time. Just kidding. So then I glued the background onto the tank itself, and yeah. I also made these like two like side pieces for like the soak area, water area. Again, they're just made out of styrofoam, and like I shaped them and added like concrete, a couple layers of it. But I didn't use spray paint on these because, you know, this was gonna be submerged underwater, and yeah. So I glued these two little pieces on there as well. So this is how this was looking at this time. Very pretty. I was happy with the way this was going. So that's as far as I got with this. You'll see why in a bit. And that's when I came home with Nachi in the box, and I placed the box inside of there because anywhere else I place it in the house, my cats would like get to it. Like it would have just gone really wrong. So I placed the box inside of there, put the lid on, and ignored the mouse because again, I didn't want to get attached to it. And that night I was gonna feed him to Nachi. I walked by and noticed he made one of like the breathing holes like bigger and was like trying to like climb out of the box. So as you guys know, I'm like a rat, mouse, hamster, cute, small, furry mammal person. To me, this is like super adorable. So this is the moment right here. This is when it happened. I looked at him in the eyes. As soon as I saw him peek like his little head out like that, instant bond, instant connection. After this, he had me wrapped around his little paw. I mean, like, come on. Why did the pet store have to give me such a cute mouse? So then I did something real stupid. So I took him out to hold him, right, because that was gonna help. And I wanted to see how tame he was. So I was hoping that he would be super like mean and antisocial and would try to like bite me or something, so I wouldn't feel so bad about feeding him off. But no, not what happened.
Well, now I can't feed him off.
Yep, he was super tame. And then like my motherly instincts started to kick in. Let's reenact what happened, okay? So I was like, you know what, little guy? You haven't had anything to eat or to drink in a few hours, so let me go ahead and offer you something. Yeah. And look, he took the food from my finger and started eating it in my hand. You guys, like, after this, there was just no way that I was gonna feed this off to Nachi. Like, I'm sorry, Nachi. I love you, baby. You're mommy's baby. But, like, you know, we were just gonna have to do something else. Like, go buy another one or something. But this little cutie was mine now. Also, like, I felt guilty because I bought him from a pet store and not from, like, a feed store. Like, this guy is pet quality. He's a pet quality mouse. He is bred to be a pet, not food. Like, he could have gone to a nice family or something. I felt a little bit of guilt there. Feeder rodents are typically not very healthy because they're not bred for that. They are bred to feed other animals. So genetics, not very important. Lots and lots of times they have all these health problems and like they don't live very long. That's why they're not recommended as pets. Like, there's people that do buy feeder mice and keep them as pets and they do well. That's great, but most of the time that's just not the case. So he's a pet. He's my pet, my baby. I don't like calling my pets pets. I like calling them babies, family members, kiddos. But if you had to, like, yeah, they'd be considered pets. The only problem was that I didn't have a cage for him, you know, because this was not planned. So what I ended up doing was leaving him in that enclosure that I was preparing for my frog, you know, while I found him a nice setup. And then he wrecked it. He chewed up the background, he made tunnels in it. All that hard work went to waste. Still love you though, but like, damn, still hurts. And that's the story on how Milton happened. And like, here he is. It's been like months and months. I love him. He's my baby. And like, yeah, this is him. Hi, I'm Steff. This is Milton. Hi. That's Babette. So I ended up finding a frozen rodent supplier the next day. Thankfully, everything worked out. Thank you, universe. So I bought a year's supply of feeders for Nachi. That's a lot of frozen rodents to have to store in the freezer, but like, you know, anything for Nachi except MILTON. You can't have MILTON, sorry. So unfortunately, because there's like no competition here in the frozen rodents, frozen feeders department, the sellers set their prices really high, which is another reason why people here don't use frozen feeders. But still, it was the route that I was sure I wanted to go. The shipping was also very expensive. It was actually the same amount that I paid for all of the rodents. This seller that I bought from actually only offered airport to airport shipping. So, you know, like, screw it. I guess let's do that. Plus, like, Nachi had to eat, yo. I wasn't gonna like not pay. So the box arrived at the airport near me. So it's kind of funny because the seller told me that when I go pick up the box and they ask me what's inside the box, to say that it is exotic meats and not like frozen rats, mice. So that's what I said. I don't know if the airline is like against transporting frozen mice, but like, okay. So I went in to claim the package. I showed my ID and they asked me and I said, yeah, those are exotic meats. I said it with a straight face too. The workers there seemed like super impressed and intrigued by me. Like, they probably thought I was like some important and successful Michelin star chef that like imports their meats because I'm like so successful and relevant. Duh. Like, where's my episode on Chef's Table, Netflix? I import my meats, okay? I think that qualifies me and like I need my own episode. Y'all, let them know. Okay, so I bring the box home, I open it. This is how I find the feeders inside. So that was like a what kind of moment, because like I'm used to like seeing them like this and sold like this, so I was a little confused at first. So you know what, like at first, okay, I went and got 2 boxes of freezer bags and I started to place one individual mouse in each bag. That way it'd be easier to like just thaw like one mouse out instead of like having to like pick through all those. I'm pretty sure with time they would have like stuck together and like you'd have to like, you know, take a knife and try and break them apart. I'm imagining that in my head now, and like mouse limbs detaching while still frozen, and that's just not a pretty image. Once I finished individually packaging and preparing for storage each mouse, I realized why the seller shipped them like this. That's all of them, and they take up so much space. So not only did that add volume, like it also added weight. So the seller saves me on shipping by keeping the packaging simpler. And yeah, that's it for this story. I know I don't really want to touch on this too much because it's very controversial, but I'm gonna say it. I know people are gonna point this out in the comments, like, how are you okay with one rat surviving and all of these rats died? Like, I know it's messy, it's not easy for everyone to fully understand, and like, this is me. I'm still like figuring it out, like the balance of things. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a big fat thumbs up. Love y'all. Bye.
Gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the back. I don't know what I'm doing. Someone take this camera away from me. Oh, my foot fell asleep.
A little ooh, get it well done. We keep moving till the sun come up again. In the party, so fiesta, blow out your
Hey, cutie. Hey.